Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee Weekly. And if you have noticed, last week we haven't recorded. And today we are going to talk about don't break the chain. We have a chain of recording every week, and we broke it last week, but we are back. And that's what we are going about in these very short episodes. And I'm also here with
Hendrik, it's a pleasure to be with you guys. And
Otto, woo, I hope you can forgive us that we left you without an episode last week. We're so sorry. We're thinking about making two today. No, but we're just gonna make one. It should be enough. So don't break the chain. What do you refer to with that, Sheldon? What do you mean with that?
So when I think about this, and especially talking about content producing, because we broke the chain in the episode last week. I think about people that record consistently, and we talked about consistency in the early episodes. So for example, there is a very good newsletter that I subscribe to, which is Daily Stoic, and the guy sends an email every day, like literally every day. And there's like lots of newsletters that are like weekly or bi-weekly, etc. And I watched some interviews with those guys, and what they usually do is like they either have a team working for them, or they have like a huge backlog of things that are already recorded. And because we are like real, I'm not saying that they are not real, like we are real in the term of we are here just like on the fly. We don't prepare too much. We talk what comes from the heart. We didn't have anything prepared, so we broke the chain. And when I think about this term, I remember about James Clear on the book Atomic Habits. And I think it's chapter 16, where he says about this this topic about breaking the chain, and also about having a habit streak. And I think chapter 16 is how to stick with good habits every day. And there's also an example of a person that is doing sales call, where he has the habit of filling a jar of calls, and then when he would stop when the jar is full. So for him, like the chain is this jar of paper of people that he called. And for us, I think the chain is seeing the episode uploaded on YouTube every Thursday afternoon, GMT, or on Friday morning. That's usually the time we upload. So yeah, so that's what I think. What do you guys think about this this topic? Maybe Hendrik, wanna go first?
yeah, sure. So I think it's actually a super interesting topic because habit forming, it's a lot about keeping the habit and how to behave if you break it. And yeah, that's just what happened like with us. And we can also maybe talk a bit about the circumstances. So basically our situation is that Sheldon is kind of our technical guy. He takes care of creating the calls, uploading them, and he's basically our single point of failure. And last week Sheldon was not available, so we fucked up. And this is actually a very good starting point, I think, for the conversation. How does it come that you break habits? So we had like a single point of failure, and maybe that's something that people can avoid. And we can have systems to avoid those, but they take effort. So we have to do a risk analysis. What's the worst parts? And also, it's like a matter of priority. So how high do you prioritize things? And how much are you willing to put into keeping the habit, because it keeps discipline. I mean, just before I pass the mic to Otto, like you have to have motivation to start something, but you have to have the discipline to keep moving.
Can I throw in something? I mean, I would say that yes, of course, Sheldon usually does this, but I have a hard time framing it that way, that it was because of Sheldon. There's three of us. We all could have agreed at a later time and everything. It is just more that we agreed that because of the moving of times, and I'm traveling right now, so I'm in New York time zone, and Sheldon is in Brazil, so that is Brazil time zones, and we all have to work and do some stuff and travel around, and we might not have internet because of everything. So we decided, hey, it's better that we don't like try too hard, and we have to force it and to do something, and then it might be shit. So we just like, hey, let's skip it this week. But yeah, of course, the most important thing is coming back to it, because that's I think once you break something, it's always easy to you're like, I didn't do it last week. I didn't go to the gym last week. I can go tomorrow. And then tomorrow you're like, oh, I didn't go yesterday. I can go on on the weekend I can go. And then this weekend you're like super hangover. You're like, I will go on Monday. Monday I would start. Monday is a good day. And then it's Monday and you forgot that whatever. And that's how it goes. So here we are, repairing the chain. We're speaking, about this topic. But one thing I wanted to say, sometimes breaking the chain is good. And I want to do that now. I want to break our chain about always talking about the topic. I want to talk about us and what we do. What did we do last week? Because, Sheldon, you were saying we're doing this live, but how do people know that we're doing this live? We could be recorded like everything in one day, change the backgrounds, change my sunglasses, everything, and be like, oh, it's live and everything. But no, as a proof that we are live, we can talk about our last week. So as I said, I can start. I'm currently still in New York. I'm traveling here for work for the last week and staying here for 2 more weeks because I'm actually considering possibly in the future, moving to New York, and just wanted to get like a feeling how it is living here without any plans. I mean, I'm just here and I work a bit. I don't know, it's a pizza. I ended up in an Airbnb that was pretty much a scam. I talked to the support for 3 days in a row. The case was handed over 7 times. I've never been on the other side of the horror story of Airbnb. Now I've been. It sucks, but I found something new. It's a bit far away, but hey, on the upside, on the second week I'm staying here, which is next week, I will have an Airbnb next to Central Park. So things turned out quite well. What about you guys, Sheldon?
Yeah, I think I can go next. And it's a coincidence because I'm going to be traveling to New York tomorrow. So possibly, I don't know, because we're like traveling is really hard to predict things, but maybe if we are able to record from there, we might organize to record together, or at least it's going to be easier because we have only 2 time zones difference now. Yeah, so the thing about being live and like doing things on the fly, I have some experience with content producers, and I know that they like do batch recording, and they just change the t-shirt because like just so the video is different from each video, but it's not like a scam or anything. It's just like to make the content more digestible, let's say. But talking about me, so last week I traveled. I went to see some family members outside of the city where I'm currently hosted, which is Goiânia in the state of Goiás. So it's the center of Brazil. And the thing is that it's really hard to schedule time to see everyone. And sometimes agendas get shocked and stuff like that. And what happened for me is that one of my aunts which lives in the farm, she freed up her agenda on the Thursday for me to go visit her. So at the time of the recording, I had to travel to the farm. And by the time I arrived there, we had internet, but it wasn't reliable. So I decided to just like, I think it's important as well, like Otto said earlier, to know your limits and say like, oh, let's not go too hard. And okay, it's time to break the chain. So that's what I did. And yeah, and then I want to also mention the point that that Hendrik said about single point of failure. And this is has a lot to do with coming back to the habits, or like amending the chain, or fixing the chain of habits. Because and I'm gonna go to my notes here because I read Atomic Habits recently, and I'm scrambling on my notes. I think it's chapter 3.6. Motivation is overrated. Environment often matters more. So the idea is that you set up your environment to make it easy for you to perform the habits. So what I do, like I am the responsible to record and upload the video, and the guys do the rest of the like metadata stuff and backstage stuff. So what do I do on the day before I set up the laptop? I switch from my work Zoom to my personal Zoom, and I have everything prepared. And sometimes I even schedule the meeting, so I have the link to share with the guys. And I wake up at least half an hour earlier, and I set up the environment as well. Sometimes if I have time, I listen to something big brain, so I warm up my brain for the conversations. Like I have some podcasts that I listen to that really motivates my brain to talk about some like philosophical stuff. Yeah, so sometimes my insights come from those podcasts. Yeah, so those are the things that I usually do when I think about repairing the chain. Thinking about the environment and also introspecting. I do a lot of introspecting and trying to understand why I broke the habits, why this thing was hard to me to come back to. Yeah, so that's me, Hendrik.
Yeah, cool. Thanks. Yeah, for me, I will keep it a bit shorter. I was visiting my parents last week, so I also had the chance to meet a lot of friends, spend some time with the family. Now I'm happy to be back in Berlin. I have a friend visiting me. He also gave us some feedback, and he was actually the inspiration for this weekly review that we're having right now. Let's see how it feels in the retrospective tomorrow. And yeah, a lot of going on for me right now. Right now, I'm cutting a music video. I will release a new music video. I'm super excited for it, actually, because it's with one of my best friends, Kiki, and we have some very good footage. And I took a lot of time already for cutting. And next step will be post-production, like with all the effects and the color grading. So I'm really happy to put a lot of time into that and make it as good as possible. And yeah, sometimes I really enjoy that, like to go into the details, because usually I'm more like a quick and fast guy. But in this case, I really want to take my time. So yeah, I'm enjoying that right now. And yeah, with the breaking the habits, yeah, I'm also super happy that we're back actually today. I think it's a normal thing that things don't always go perfectly. But as Otto already also told, it's about how you treat it. So right now we're back. We're not even on schedule normally, but we anyways managed. And I think that what matters, like everybody has failures, everybody has fuck ups, but it's a lot more how you treat them. And sometimes it's also good to have a break. Just rest, just think about it, just reflect a bit. And so yeah, like it can actually become a habit to repair your habits. So like if you're building your skill in that, that's a good thing for you.
But one thing that I found quite interesting, you said that everyone has fuck ups and failures. I mean, for sure. But for example, the reason we change schedule is because we travel. It's not really that we fuck up. I mean, of course, we could get up at like 2 a.m. in the morning, but
yes,
come on.
But last week, I think we could have had it if we had performed better with communication and planning. We could have chosen another day or another time if we really wanted.
I fully agree, but then you mentioned priorities. So, for example, if I was Sheldon and I'm back in Germany and my grandma says, "Hey, come over tomorrow," I mean, sorry, but I'm gonna go to grandma, you know, and I can't tell grandma to be like, "Hey, sorry, grandma, can you tell me your schedule for the next 2 weeks?" So I think maybe the skill to maintain a habit is to selectively say, okay, I mean, of course, you want to keep your habit. I mean, that's the most important thing. But if you say something, it'll be very sad to tell your grandma, like, I'm recording something on Zoom, and she's like, "What is Zoom? I don't know what this is. You don't like me anymore?" No, joking. But I think it is dealing like with different situations and prioritizing them that eventually you stick to the habit. Of course, you know, exceptions confirm the rule. I don't know if that's a saying in English, but in German it is, that if you do it really rarely, then I think it's fine. But of course, if you constantly, you know, don't do it and takes a hard time to get back, then you need to really rethink your priorities or your habits. I mean, when I think, for example, about working out, it took me many years to realize that, you know, working out hard and like really going on a good diet and running and doing everything, I mean, it doesn't really matter if like 2 months later you have a fallback and you, I don't know, don't work out anymore, which is pretty much the story of my life for the last 10 years, which I'm always like maintaining a kind of okay level, but I'm not really progressing in that sense. I've been progressing every now and then, but then, you know, I get sick or something, I'm off for 2 weeks, but then I'm like, you know, I slowly get back into it. And this is, I think, where breaking the chain is maybe more a concept that, you know, you can apply, that maybe there is not even a bigger chain that you made yourself. Maybe I've put my environment, like Sheldon said, maybe I put my environment this way that I can never really progress like for real. So I think, yeah, it's many concepts I threw into the room. Maybe you have one of those that you can catch on to, Sheldon.
Yeah, I think I can pick it up from there, because there is a quote, I think it's Rocky Balboa, the movie, one of the movies. I don't know because I haven't watched yet. I think they are good movies, but I don't know. I think it's everybody has a plan till they get punched in the face. And talking about technical stuff, when you deploy your software, you can have all the tests, you can have everything, but then there is one dependency. You have no idea where this dependency comes from, because like the dependency chain is like really low, really big, and then there's like a failure on the security, and then you get hacked. So how do you plan for such things? Or your DB or hard drive is full, and then you don't have storage anymore. How do you plan for that? So I think you're always gonna learn from your things, from breaking the chains, and I think it's the idea like that we have to think about it. And I want to have my closing thoughts on how to come back and repairing the chain from another part of the book, Atomic Habits, where he talked about habit has to be something that is part of your identity. And every time that you reinforce your valid, you're reinforcing your habit, you're casting a vote towards your identity. So for example, if you want to say that you are a fit person, what a fit person do? They go to the gym every day or every like regular agenda. And okay, but today I'm too tired, I don't have time. All right, you go to the gym and you use the bathroom and you go out of the gym. Just that, according to James Clear, also reinforces the habit of your identity, your new identity, or your current identity of a fit person. And like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go out for a run. Maybe you really don't want to go for a run, but your habit is just tying the shoes, the running shoes. And if you did that, even if you don't run, you are reinforcing your identity. And I think this is the main idea of why the book is called Atomic Habits, because you break down the habits into the tiniest thing. And when you do that, you are reinforcing the identity. So what we are doing today, like we are all on 3 different time zones. We are doing a shorter episode. I think we are doing that right now, reinforcing the identity of a constant, very low-key podcast. Hendrik,
Nice.
you have something to say?
Yes, thanks so much for the facts, Sheldon. Yeah, I want to pick up where Otto left. So I think it's about like having a healthy amount of breaks, and also being very conscious about those. I agree, no one can always stick to something 100%, let it be of illness or some events that people cannot control. So it's like a lot, like one of the paradigms in my life that's always coming back is like having balance. Like, how do you balance out things? And I think it's about finding the right balance, like, and also a balance that works for you. How often do you skip something? You will not become a world top level soccer player if you miss every second day at the sports because you've been drinking with your friends. So like the top class athletes, they will not break the habits because they don't match their schedule with their workout plans and hanging out with friends. But on the other hand, I'm pretty sure that these people anyways have a healthy family life. So you can do both. And yeah, everyone else has a different priority for that, how they weight things, what feels good for them. And you just have to find it for yourself. And I think that's the important thing, next to just coming back to it.
That's very good insights from both of you. So I think one way that I try to make things work is like a little, fake it till you make it in some ways. That, let's say, in the phases where I did go to the gym and things went fine, I was like, okay, I wasn't even thinking if I went. I was like, every second day I will go. I don't care. Even if I was hungover, like fuck, I just went there. I did like 2 exercises and went back home. But that was super valuable for me, because for me the barrier of going was reduced. And it was also the time, by the way, I was drinking every second day, so it does work. No, I'm not advertising this, but it's more important that you you really, yeah, you kind of push yourself in that way. I mean, if you're like in the bed, you're thinking, oh, should I go today? Oh, I'm kind of sore from last. It's so late already. I mean, if you of course give yourself space, if you increase the time to question yourself, well, it's just a matter of time, you will just say no. So I think it's a good way to sometimes just like, you know, give a little slap on yourself on the back and just be like, hey, come on, just go. And then once you're there, it is okay if your workout is not the best. I mean, it's good, of course, if you have more energy, but in my experience, once you're there, I mean, you kind of trapped yourself anyway. Now you're there anyway. So come on, you can do this exercise more, you can run a little bit. So it's yeah, try to find a way to not make yourself think too much sometimes. That's my closing thought. In that sense, yeah, there was I'm very happy we did this. So it's maybe a bit shorter than last episodes, but we unbroke the chain. We broke it and we repaired it. So I think that's yeah, I figure we did this. It was also like, you know, a little bit in between. I have a meeting before, I was a little bit late, and now I have a meeting in 8 minutes and to get breakfast, but we made it. That's important. And I'm very confident we will see each other next week and the following weeks.
Yeah, that's great. And also the expectation of we might break the chain again. It might happen. So there's that. And if you're still here, please leave a comment what you think about this topic. And if you have something to share as well and contribute to the topic, leave a comment below. And see you next week, hopefully. Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.